So if everyone is good to go, we can step back into Vallaki. If you all would like to return to the Wachter House, that is fine. But otherwise, you are walking back out onto the streets of kind of the northern ward of Vallaki. This area is predominantly the large mansion that is Wachter House, and then a bunch of very similar houses, like smaller but similar houses that are like built up around it that seem to be houses kind of built onto their property.
So I guess once we're like outside walking away from the house and like out of earshot, not that I'm trying to be like super private, but also just on a like casual conversation, Sarkis would look back to Lee and Kavi and say, starting to get the impression that the relationships in this realm are much more complicated than good and bad or friend and opponent. Perhaps things we have been overly cautious about, we don't need to be in the future. I feel like initially I got the impression that the Vistani were evil, but perhaps they're not. Perhaps there's something different, but allied in many ways with Strahd, or mutually beneficial.
So assuming you all are walking through town, are you just kind of wandering while you chat? Do you know whether you would be heading north or south from there? Do you want to explore a particular part of town? What would you all like to head to as you discuss these things?
Along those same lines, I guess Sarkis will kind of bring up that, um, and the more I think about the Vistani may not be the enemies, the more I think that maybe there's more to be learned there. We were so hasty in leaving. Perhaps the fortunes were relevant to not only our futures, but also our surroundings.
Well, it seems compared to this world and our world, the relationships between the people is all but the same.
So, am I crazy to think that there might be more to be learned from the Vistani?
I think they're I think they're candy. I think they're just trying to survive. Is what's happening.
I agree. I think I mistook the dynamic initially, and tell you the truth, I may have let my fear dominate my actions recently. I was afraid to stay out past night, worried about getting back, but I fear that we may have missed something along the way. So just kind of bringing up the four main things I had for the fortune and to just kind of discuss like the relevance of them a little bit. We know who the wealthy woman is, obviously the devil's ally. That was like the one fortune. The next one was the great warrior hiding in sight, wagon of wonders that brings joy. And we had talked about there's a possibility that that was one of the wagons back at um, the fortune teller. And then the next one I didn't really know anything about. Fallen House, Highest Peak, Silver Vision of Dragons, The Rising Sun. I wasn't sure about that, but I thought perhaps that could be Eastmark, The Rising Sun, because his like dad just died and everything. So and it, he has like a mansion on the south. I don't know. I just kind of made that connection. And then the last one was the Great Ally with the dead wife. So I wasn't sure if that had something to do with like the initial father who like kills his wife, or if that was just somebody we don't know yet, or I don't know.
Is that just from your notes that you have it written like?
Yeah, that's just my notes. And then I
I
realized
feel
that
like that could be incredibly misleading if I don't clarify right away that it should be the husband that is dead. The ally is the husband who is dead. And that's what broke up Madame Eva, because she saw that your ally was dead.
oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, the husband. I wrote dead wife, but I meant yeah, husband that was dead. But I was thinking that might be like from the initial house. But I don't know if I was just looking too far into that. Like Rosvalda's dad. But I don't know. Anyway, I think we could probably get some more information either by looking at the cards or going back to the place or whatever. But at this point in time, I don't have like a specific direction really in mind. So that's why I kind of thought maybe if we went back there, we could fill in some of the blanks. The other opportunity would be if we accept Strahd's quote unquote invite and go like return to him to get more information.
I mean, the invite kind of got burned. So that happened.
Well, I think that it's more like an open invitation. Like he was hoping that we'll stop by for dinner that day or sometime in the future. And we know where he lives, so we could just kind of like pop in unexpectedly, make up some kind of excuse why we didn't go right away. But I feel like that's obviously like a lead for us. So while my character is like afraid of Strahd, I think there's probably a realistic expectation that we may need to like meet him again.
I definitely feel like we're going to have to like eventually go to Strahd, but I don't think it's immediate. I feel like that could wait a little bit.
Like play hard to get, see how persistent he is until he like forces us to come to dinner. We're like, all right, I guess we'll go.
Yeah, actually.
What are you thinking over there, Flea?
I'm taking in what, the discussion and that, trying to catch up. Yeah, I mean, we're here now. It was quite a journey to get here. Let's not leave till we're done.
Oh, I think you might have missed that in the recap. They literally got here, slept, and then went right back to Sayre Falls the next day. That's kind of what I mean. I think they had spoken to Vasily, had mentioned the Vistani, and I think their first stop was at the church, and he had basically spoken about the Vistani. And from that moment on, the group was like, yeah, we got to go back to the Vistani. So they went back to the Vistani.
Okay, let's roll with it then.
Yeah, I think we maybe got like a little paranoid like 2 sessions ago that like we needed to like stay inside the town a little bit. So we kind of like branched out last week, and then it wasn't bad, and we definitely got some more information. So kind of give me the impression that like maybe we need to be like a little less focused on the safety of the town. We also did it in a single day from like morning to night, like there and back. So we cut it kind of close. So if we take too long, we could be stuck like and maybe stay there for a night and kind of see how that plays out.
But part of my reason for asking you was to see not only if like Flea had questions like or thoughts, but if you had anything that we could fill in the dots so you can get more quickly back into the conversation. But
Yeah, I don't really think so. I don't think that there's like much more information from Kyle or Nikolai like at the moment that we have the right questions for even. And then I feel like Lady Wachter pretty much like just sent us on our way. So like unless we're and then Vasily I feel like said he wasn't going to be back for a while. So I think that kind of limits like our path of choice here. I kind of look at it as like right now the main options are to like go back to the fortune teller and kind of like interact with the NPCs there a little bit and see if we can get more info. Um, or potentially a combat on the way. We'll have to see how it plays out. Or potentially, going to Strahd and kind of like meeting the bull by the horns. But that's just my opinion.
So do you all think that you're walking towards the east gate? Or would you be kind of walking towards the tavern in the center of town? By now, you would probably at least see a few people posting little flyers about the upcoming Sun Festival in 3 days' time.
What do you guys think? Do you have like a preference or whatever towards one of those two goals, or like alternate opportunity?
Just for the fact that one of the readings mentioned the sun, we should stick a. We should at least be present for that festival.
Oh yeah, we should. I think we should definitely try to do the festival, but we got like 3 days to kill. So do you guys want to try going to the caravan and try to like interact with them a little more? Do you want to try to go like meet Strahd again and see what he wants from us?
I'm actually kind of curious about like that silver house that was mentioned. A fallen silver house scattered to thieves.
That was the one that said the highest peak. Vision of Dragons. Is that the one? Rising Sun?
Yeah, because it sounds like it could be like a former like noble house.
When it said highest peak and fallen house, it made me think that that's like Strahd's castle. Because it's like the highest peak, it's like up on like that hill where it like looks down on everything. And then fallen house almost made me think like it was like fallen as in like the house is still there, but it's fallen to like darkness. But I don't know. Did you have some other idea for it?
Good with the caravan.
What is the castle in the east?
Ravenloft is among one of the most eastwardly points in this in Barovia.
And like again, that's just kind of what I got from it. I just like jotted down some notes. There's probably more clear or decisive information if you look at the actual like cards or whatever, but that's just where I kind of got from it.
Somebody's gonna hand you a flyer for the Festival of the Blazing Sun. All will be well.
We'll be there, of course.
How much do we know about this festival?
We found out that basically, like the woman we just saw, Lady Wachter, is married to like the like main guy in the town, like the ruler of the town, and that he sort of like prays to this weird god, and that's what like the festival is for.
Great, we can get possessed by another god.
Yeah, it sounds like a cult, pretty much.
All religion's a cult.
Yeah, it didn't sound like particularly good religion / cult by any means.
I mean, I just meant in general, all religion's a cult.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about like the institutionalization of spirituality in the form of religion / cult.
But yeah, I feel like we should start with the caravan at the moment.
Yeah, I mean 3 days. That probably gives us enough time that we could like go there, spend a day like looking around and try to stay the night there maybe. So we're not traveling at night, and then maybe come back the next day, and then that would be like around the day before the festival.
Agreed.
What like roughly what time of like day or night or whatever is it right now?
I think we've got you all outside like in the evening, basically. So it would basically be for putting down for a night's sleep.
Okay, yeah. So maybe we have to go to the tavern and crash for the night, and then hit the road in the morning and try to go check out the caravan.
Vasily still offered us his house when he's not there.
Vasily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could crash there if we still have access.
It's not like a far walk from, say, like the center of town to get out to Vasily's, but you all walk for about 15 or 20 minutes, crossing by a few random people still about the actual town, but you do get to Vasily's and it's locked.
But it's worth a try. It looks like we'll be staying at the tavern tonight.
When you arrive back at the tavern, again, like another like 20 or so minutes later, it's like early-ish in the evening. It's definitely getting late at night. The two Wachter brothers are still there drinking at the tavern. The bard is still playing on the upper level. Still playing absolutely horrendous music. There's still a couple of the hunters, but they look like they're getting a little sloshed. But otherwise, everything seems to be calming down. Most of the locals are perhaps through for the evening, and it's kind of just the people who are getting wasted that are still there.
This music is phenomenal. I'm glad we came back.
Pleasure to serve you. Be right kind to leave a tip. And he
Just
winks
mumbles
at
like
you.
I could. He just mumbles, I could do better.
I don't think you realized I was being sarcastic.
It sounds vaguely like a cat getting run over.
Well, I think probably I don't have anything crazy to do. I don't know if you guys have any RP stuff you want to do, but
I mean, I could try and earn some extra money.
I mean, I can look the other way if you want.
Performance check on how to prevent stealing the show.
You don't really have to struggle to steal the show. You've already gotten cross looks from the bard for doing that. If you intend to start playing, though, you can definitely start playing. Eventually, Erwin will come up to you and actually offer you a free night's stay for your work, handing you like a pint of ale. Or no, it would actually be like a glass of wine at some point in your actual performance. But yeah, you'll probably just work a little bit later into the night playing.
She accepts, but she asks for tea instead of wine.
He looks a little dejected and comes back a few minutes later, but he returns with some hot tea. What do the others do while Kavi is playing?
I'll just do like a little bit of leather working. Just kind of like hang out, listen to the music, maybe get something to eat.
I'm just kind of blending in, getting some dinner, listening, see what there is to be heard.
So the tavern keep Irwin can offer you pretty nice wolf steaks if you'd like to get something along that line. Otherwise, you can get a marrow stew, and then they pretty much have their different wine choices, as well as he can probably whip up some tea for you. But you all can get those sets. Irwin takes pretty good care of you all. He does pop to the back every once in a while to take care of the grill, but otherwise is taking care of the bar as well at this point. And it's not too long into the evening before the bard kind of comes downstairs and sits down at the bar a little bit distraught and just kind of looking towards the bartender. And you see after a good bit of time they seem to be having some words.
Sarkis eats the most steak he's ever ate in his life. It's almost a normal person portion.
If everybody's good and ready to head on to bed, you can certainly head to bed and get everything started. I think overall it'd be like I think 2 or 3 silver for your meals and like 2 or 4 silver for your beds, depending on how you're staying in like a communal area or a more private area.
Yeah, all right, I'll mark off. I'll just pay for everybody's stuff. So what's it come to about a gold?
Well, Kavi is staying for free. So,
Okay, well I'll buy whatever else, everybody's dinner, and then mine and Flea's rooms, and food and
yeah,
drinks.
you could definitely do pretty well for yourselves just by passing off a gold to Irwin. Kind of like bites into it. This is a gold that you brought in, that you carried.
Yeah, I have 10 gold.
He like bites into the gold, and as he's kind of flipping it over, he kind of just pauses for a few moments. Mighty thanks to you, far traveler.
Of course, it better be real. I saw you biting it there.
It's always more interesting to see the ones that have traveled the farthest. It's dragon. Are they far from here? He's like holding up the actual dragon, which is a Water Davian gold coin.
It's a ways, but don't ask me what direction in. Just out of curiosity, what's the currency look like here?
Well, I don't often have gold coins on me, but he takes a few moments to pull out a coin, and you'll see on the like kind of head side of it, there is a portrait of Strad van Zarovich.
Interesting, but not surprising.
Makes it easy to see where the fresh money's coming from. So everybody can take a long rest. You guys can enjoy a safe night's sleep in the Blue Water Inn, and kind of wake up and go about your mornings how you all would like to. I would say without taking exhaustion and losing a long rest, you'd have to leave no like earlier than kind of like 8 or so, to give Kavi time to sleep.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Where am I on my 2 exhaustion levels?
I feel like you would have had 2 rests by now, because they slept at Vasily's, and then they've now slept here at Blue Water Inn.
Thank you.
Stay up most of the night from nightmares.
The way that you sleep is almost always going to be purely up to you to roleplay. There are certain times that I am going to cause stuff to happen, but most of the time that's up to you. I'm not, in general, I'm not ever going to tell you what to do with your character. Like, that's what I mean, it's up to you. I feel like if I told you all the time that you're having nightmares, that's taking player agency from you. On how you play your character, versus there are certain things that are going to cause issues. But like the cost that you paid to the house, you're forgetting stuff. That's not like reliving it. That's like losing the ability to relive it.
I know, but that can also just like resound in the form of nightmares of having to lose it. And almost trying to force yourself to remember it.
And that's what I mean, where it's more on you to kind of make that determination of what you want to experience there.
I'll make it relatively a peaceful night for her.
But in general, like all 3 of you, those costs that you've now paid are mostly me saying, run with this and roleplay this how you'd like. And there might be points where I give you more instructions, but in general, telling you how to play those things are not my intention. So, assuming that you all leave early in the morning, you can get on your way, heading back towards Sayre Falls. Just taking the road straight there. Is that your general plan?
Just taking the road there and keeping our eye out when we get near the bridge for the pathway.
So you all head out of town. The guard is light at the main gate during daytimes. You see as they kind of drag the gate back open, so it's nearly like open entry. It's still guarded by guards, but the guards themselves are more dispersed along the palisade. And you can start on your way. It's a pretty simple walk for you all across the first few hours. Pretty familiar path. You know most of the ways there. Let me have each of you roll a d20 for me.
Didn't transfer over, but I got a 1, so it can't be much worse than that.
So, heading out of town, you all do see there's some crows kind of flying along the way for the first like quarter mile or so as you're leaving Vallaki. You start to round your ways towards the main gate, and just kind of sporadically through the first few hours of travel, you do start to notice there seems to be crows flying by you. There's just that small pack of black just kind of floating in the air off in the distance at like sporadic moments of looking around. But in general, you have a pretty safe travel. You're able to make it to that waterfall. You walk past Ravenloft and don't see any signs of Rahadin coming to greet you, and you are able to find that side path and take it towards Sayre Falls. Do you have any thoughts on how you intend to approach the Vistani? Are you just planning on going like directly there and just greeting them?
Yeah, I'm thinking go directly there and like greet them basically with the sorry we had to be so hasty last time. We weren't sure how much like time we had, but we still have questions.
So approaching from that western position, you would see pretty similar sign of the camp. It's still like a circular camp on the edge of the Serre Pool. The camp itself is the few wagons. They each have like their own little tenting of like linens kind of draped across, making little cover from the elements. You see a large tent in the center. There's not too much fire happening at that point, but you do see that it's like prepared as a cooking fire at this point. And you don't see people like specifically dancing at this point, but the people do seem to still be like sitting around in that general area inside of the circle of wagons, and they are enjoying some music playing.
Perhaps we should investigate around and look for a wagon of wonders or something that could be a bringer of joy.
So would that? I guess that would be like the most colorful wagon.
Yeah, I don't know. Can we kind of like investigate the wagons a little bit? Like kind of just say hi or walk around and kind of like look at them?
I feel like that's two different things. Do you want to say hi, or are you trying to sneak around?
Oh no, not sneak. Like just go around and kind of like assuming that it's. I kind of think of them as like gypsies. Maybe I'm getting the right impression. Maybe I'm getting the wrong impression. Sort of like they're kind of like selling stuff like goods or services. So just kind of like perusing the merchandise, so to speak, or window shopping.
Um, this is perhaps a little bit less along those lines than that, in that they are travelers. They're not necessarily set up here as like a booth camp of things for sale. Like these are their homes. So like you can walk around and just kind of visit different people. But in general, like you kind of have to say something first. People aren't gonna just like let you be looking at their things without eventually having that cross conversation of what's going on? What are you looking for? Like if you're just walking into camp, um, eventually somebody's going to look off to you. You'll see like a gentleman in one of the main circles just kind of wave you over. Why, hello. What can we do for you? Seem to
Please.
remember you all were here just the other day, just last night.
Yes, we came, but we were in a rather big hurry. We had only enough time to visit with the madame and have our fortunes read, but we thought perhaps we had left some stones unturned, so we would venture back.
And what stones need turning?
Well, the truth is, we're not quite sure, but we figured if we kicked around a little bit, maybe we'd find a clue or two. We've plenty of questions and seem to have more as we get answers, so perhaps you can point us in the right direction. One of our fortune cards spoke of a wagon of wonders, bringer of joy. Does this ring any bell to you or your community?
I'd like to imagine that we're all bringers of joy.
Perhaps it's you then. The last thing we've found in this land since we've been here is joy, so
Well, everybody's joy is one thing to the next. You have to find joy where you can find it. We're alive. We have a bit of freedom. It's something to be finding joy in.
it must be you then. Don't suppose you have a colorful wagon?
Only as colorful as the wood that we made it from. And you would notice pretty much all of their wagons, they're gaudy more in their linens than necessarily the actual, like, finish of any of the, like, wagons themselves. So they're certainly colorful in their ways.
Does any of the wagons stand out at all?
The main wagon that's kind of central of the entire camp is Madame Eva's, where you all would have gotten your fortune-telling reading from. And her wagon in particular is extended in a way where it's like entirely covered by the linens. So she's like never really leaving that initial area, whereas everybody else kind of has like a portico out that's kind of presented in the tenting. But in general, no, they're all unique in their own ways, but they're all very classically the same in their like uniqueness. It's very much the goth crew. We're all very unique, but you're still all wearing black.
Is there any thought to visiting the fortune teller again?
Are you asking, can you see Madame Eva again?
I was talking to my teammates.
Well, I'm just saying, do you want to ask? I don't always want to encourage you all to step out of character. And perhaps sometimes you can just ask the thought that you're asking.
Not opposed to seeing her again. I think we'll find out rather quickly if it was any additional purpose or not.
Yes, then let us.
So someone's gonna ask for Madame Eva?
Yes, I will.
They point you off towards her tent. Tell you she should be getting up from a little nap pretty soon here. They intend to be having their midday feast. You all are invited, but you are more than welcome to discuss with Madame Eva for now. And heading into the actual tent itself, you would again see those draped linens that kind of present her wagon. And in front of that, she's got a large, like, grouping of kind of pillows and rugs thrown across the ground. And she sits in front of it with a large crystal ball to her side, as well as just like a jet black, a little bit of like linen tossed across the ground. And she's just sitting before you all. Well, I didn't quite expect this one today.
Who is she kind of indicating?
All of you. You all literally just saw her the night before. So you were gone for like 8 or 12 hours, basically. I guess really it'd probably be like 12 or 16 hours at this point.
Yes, we were a little curious after we left here and thought perhaps there was more to be heard.
What more... What more are you looking for?
I guess if I had to sum it up in a single word, I'd say direction.
I believe you'll find the reading is your direction. It's the Fanes speaking to you through the universe. I am a mouthpiece for them, but it is up to you and life to decide how they come about.
Perhaps it seems slightly counterintuitive that you seem almost destined to speak with Strahd again or meet with him again, but don't hurry to this task, as protecting the young one from him seems to be our main goal.
Well, it would be difficult to live in the land of a king and never come in contact with that king. So perhaps you think wisely there. And mayhaps your first priority is to protect the girl. And in time, you can visit the devil.
Thank you for the advice.
Advice is a dangerous thing to give.
Why so, my lady?
Does that alone help you? Are you all more aware of the path ahead of you with that thought?
It gives us something to think on.
Is there anything else that perplexes you? Perhaps it's time for us to go enjoy a little bit of a midday meal.
Yes, perhaps indeed.
If I may ask, how does the devil look on the Festival of the Sun?
I'm not aware of what you're speaking of.
The Festival of the Sun in Vallaki, is that not a well-known celebration or ceremony?
Oh, we Vistani are not welcome in Vallaki. Their palisade is as much for us as it is for the devil.
That is a shame. You were such nice people.
Some of us. Otherwise, we're like all people. Some are sweet, some are sour, and some are rotten to the core.
So true.
Tell me about this Festival of the Sun. She like starts to walk outside.
I think probably you know as much as we do. Really never experienced it before, only heard of it. I'll pull out like the little flyer I got and hand it to her.
Kind of like looks it over for a few moments and chuckles a little bit. I'm sure the Burgomaster of Vallaki has not seen the sun like most others who live in this land. Very few remember such things. So do you all have any other questions kind of related to the Taroka that you want to try to clarify? Are you essentially just relaxing with them while you think? Are you...
Is it possible to get like a slightly more railroady campaign?
So most of what you guys have is the directions to start going, to start looking at. You really just have to like start talking to people. But in general, you've gotten what the Vistani and Madame Eva offer is the actual Taroka reading telling you about those 3 artifacts, an ally, and where you will fight your enemy. From
And where
there,
will we fight our enemy?
that is the final card, and it basically, I think it says, the Room of Bone. Yeah, it's the greatest threat is deep in a dungeon of bones.
Yeah, I'm just going to enjoy the afternoon meal. As I'm there, does it seem like there's any one person that people are kind of shying away from?
No, in general, the Vistani are very, like, family-oriented people, and they, if anything, seem to be one very large family, despite the fact that there's, say, like 20 or so in the actual camp here.
Is the guy who was just like lazy around still there?
What was that? From the description of the first day? I feel like there was just a guy who was relaxing, listening to the music, or maybe playing the drum.
I think it's just like chillaxing.
What are you looking for? How about that?
Well, we discussed that like one of the guy was a valor hidden amongst like wonders and music. So we thought it might have been like the guy who was just chilling with the Visami was like the same was the valor guy.
You can definitely sit down and have a conversation with that guy. Do you have any thoughts that you have that you would like to ask of him? Otherwise, again, I would point out that you guys are literally basically in the first mission of this world. The Death House, everything that you've done was like an appendix. You are just now meeting everybody. So don't assume that you have met everybody.
Yeah, she's just playing that sitting next to him. She didn't have like a conversation starter with him yet.
Yeah, you're not going to say anything to him. He might offer you some food during the meal, but in general, I'm not just going to explicate for you all. That's one of the dangers of creating a quiet character, is that your role playing being silent. So, I'm assuming that you all are essentially done with the Vistani. You end up traveling back to Vallaki that day, or you can travel back to Barovia if you would like. But you end up taking in your meal. You have some conversations around the camp. In general, most of the Vistani seem okay enough of people. They seem like family folk. And it seems, in general, uninteresting. You don't ever see Madame Eva go into the same trance-like state as when she gave the actual reading for you all. But again, if you end up with other questions, that's fine. But otherwise, you all kind of move on to make sure to get where you're going for that day and have a pretty simple travel.
Well, even though we didn't necessarily answer any questions, I think we at least put a lid on that situation for now. I feel confident that we didn't rush out of there too hastily.
Where to next?
Perhaps we should get to know the people of Vallaki a little better and see if there's anyone spectacular of note.
Where are you thinking about?
So far, have we gotten the impression that like the main area of interest is the Blue Water Inn?
It is the inn in Vallaki. So it's essentially the place that everybody who is not from this place has to stay.
And there is not like a town market or anything that we've seen that's like popping off or like some other like quote unquote hangout spot. I'm just picturing that's like the drinking hole where everybody would randomly just be at.
If you kind of rush things on your way back, you're probably able to get to the town market, which is very close to Vasily's home. It's actually just to the south and a little bit west of his home. So like a little bit further west on from the main road. And you would actually spot where the town square is. There are some booths of goods kind of set up around this area. There is a large well that is like set into the main square of the town square, and then it actually extends off a little bit further to the east. And you see that there is a large collection of like brambles and branches and small sticks, and they're actually starting to build like a wicker globe on this large platform on the east side of the square. But I think you guys are still on the Vallaki map. Yeah, it's just kind of generally center on the map there is the town square.
And you said it looks like they're building, what is it?
Right now, it's like the bottom half of like a wicker globe out of all of the sticks, brambles, and kind of like small wood twigs.
I guess I'll kind of like approach whoever's building it and say, preparations for the Sun Festival?
Oh, will be well. Person just like jumps up and they're looking at you wide-eyed, and then they notice that you're just like some random person, and they get back to working.
You light that thing on fire, or does it glow, or what are you working on there?
Yes, we'll burn it for the festival. All will be well. One of the other workers like hits them on the shoulder, and you hear like just like a little whispered word, but can't really tell what they're saying. And they each seem to like kind of get back into their work, and they're moving like twice as fast.
Does it look like they slept at all?
Do an insight check. Like you're trying to see how they look and how they, like you can do insight or medicine.
Does it look like there's somebody in charge?
Do a perception check. Looking over, they seem stressed as fuck, but perhaps don't seem to be missing like any sleep. But it's kind of hard to tell, like, when somebody is that stressed, whether it's a lack of sleep or a lack of something else. Yeah, it'd still be a nat 1 though. So just kind of like looking around the place, everybody seems to be kind of busy about their own thing.
Oh, did Vox just join? What's up, buddy?
Oh, your mic might not be set up yet. But what up?
So yeah, I guess. Oh, sorry. Yep, we can hear.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. Slept through the alarm.
Oh, no worries. So yeah, I think Sarkis would just kind of like casually investigate the area, just kind of walking around with his staff, looking for anything that like particularly catches his eye of like interest or any characters that look particularly interesting or shady.
All right, so just like a general investigation, just do that at disadvantage. Like otherwise you have to narrow it down a little bit beyond that.
He's gonna go like full Karen and just kind of like poke his nose around in everybody's business, which I feel like works out perfectly for my disadvantage check. To be like all sniffling and kind of just like hobbling around with his staff, kind of like getting in people's ways a little bit.
So you notice two different things kind of investigating around this area. You're like brushing up against people and kind of just like getting real close into their personal space, and people are looking at you really odd. They're like, you can almost see a sense of disgust on them, but they're all very quick to kind of try, smile, all will be well, and move away from you, clearing as much space as they can. Everybody seems very awkward as you're moving through, but it's very clear that everybody wishes you well.
I'm not sick. It's just my allergies. Don't mind the sniffly and the redness. It's not contagious, I assure you. And then Sarkis will like turn back to the crew and just sort of like say, everyone seems a little anxious, sort of strange, but awkwardly polite.
Please going to check out the well.
What are you looking for in the well?
See if there's anything out of the ordinary around it or in it.
It's a pretty typical like well for a community. This is just the area for poorer folk to have access to water. I think most of the housing here would essentially be without plumbing. A few of the most elite people would have some sort of like maybe a pump access to like the water table, but this is pretty typical, like a large like flowing water for people who live in like a slum.
Have you guys uncovered much since last week, by the way?
Oh, so we just actually like doubled back to like Madame Ava and just kind of like investigated around a little bit more over there just to make sure we weren't missing anything. And then basically like are just kind of investigating like Vallaki, the town now, as they're like preparing for the Sun Festival. But I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I had mentioned for them, essentially, this is the first big moment of you guys have this entire campaign to meet right now. I was trying to remind them that basically what they had done before was just like the introductory like paragraph. And this is like the first main area, so almost everything for this, at least initial bit, is a lot of meeting new people.
Got it.
So it's not long that you all are in the town square until you actually see, well, actually, you would first hear like a man who's just like cackling, somewhat crazily, just seems to be absolutely rolling over laughing. And you see eventually as he is being carried into the town square and thrown into shackles and placed in, damn, I can't think of what the thing's called. It's like your head and then the two arms are like side by side in the wood. It's not manacles.
Stop.
Doc,
Stocks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's thrown into the stocks, and these two guards like lock him up, and then they like walk away.
That seems rather odd. He's sort of a little happier than you would expect for someone being thrown in the stocks, no?
Is it a pillory?
What was that?
Is he in a pillory?
You have to explain that to me.
I'll just post a picture of it real quick.
Oh wait, isn't that the same thing?
I assume yes, but that's why I feel like it's going to be details when normally I'm trying to find like a vague level of describing stuff in details and then letting your imagination fill in the dots. So usually when you ask that question, yes. If it's in your mind like that, yes.
are the workers and everybody else around just going about their business like this is no big deal?
Nobody seems to be paying the least bit of attention to this happening. Everybody is ignoring it.
Nice.
Yep, I would have called that stocks.
I wonder if he's a nutter. Perhaps it's drug induced. Let's find out. Sarkis will like start walking over towards him, like up to his like face and hands.
Once
I'm going
they,
with
once,
him.
once they locked him up, he stopped laughing. Like once they left him, he like stopped laughing. So, assuming you're walking up in front of him, he'll say hello to you or like say something to you. If you're walking up behind him, I can't start the conversation. So if you're walking up,
No, walking up to his face and hands. If he like lifts his head up as soon as I like get close to him, I would address him. Otherwise, I guess just accordingly.
yeah, I guess he would probably see your whole body, not just your feet. But eventually, he would kind of lift his head up to see you approaching. Oh, you're a brave soul.
I've been called a lot of things, but brave's not usually one of them. Just out of curiosity, what's your crime?
Criminal unhappiness.
You seem in a particularly jolly mood for someone being, well, restrained.
He just yells out, "This guy gets it!"
Just a little excited for the festival or some kind of drugs?
Yeah, excited for the festival. I laughed in Isaac's face about the festival of the blazing sun.
Is that how you ended up here?
That's all it took. Don't call Vargas a nutter and walk away free. All will be well. And he like farts really loudly.
Is Vargas the one in charge of this town?
It's the one who presents himself as the burgomaster.
Yeah, but who's really in charge?
Well, he commands everybody around, so Vargas? Or do you mean the devil?
The other
'Cause the
half
devil
of
still-
Lady Wachter, right?
Oh, no. Those two hate each other.
Right,
Vargas,
often couples do. Or am I missing something?
the Vargas family thinks they've got royal blood to them, but they're nothing.
But wait, Vargas and Lady Wachter are a couple, though, right?
Nope, not sure where you got that.
Oh shit! Okay, I totally fucked that up. For some reason, I thought she was the Burgomaster's like mistress or wife or whatever.
He just starts like yelling a tune, making fun of the Festival of the Burning Sun and the insane burgomaster, and just kind of like he doesn't seem to be drunk, but he's like drunkenly singing a shanty, making fun of the burgomaster. Everybody is starting to stare at you all.
Well, I'm not sure if you have any other useful information to share with us, but I think we'll be on our way before we're put to death. Assuming that's what's coming your way.
Can't be too much worse than living under this bullshit.
Or are you the sacrifice for the festival?
He probably would be one of the many stocks that are in this town square. And they're just kind of presented like around the edges. So like you might not notice them at first walking into the square, like with all of the actual activity and the people's there. But after seeing one person thrown into them, you would pretty quickly notice that there are stocks around this square. And they're not new.
And I
Are
take
there like lots of people in them?
What was your question there, Al?
it they look pretty well used.
Yeah, exactly. Well used. There's not necessarily lots of people in them at this point, Sarkis. But there are certainly other people in the stocks. Most of them essentially calmed by their present condition.
Okay, but we definitely get the impression like these have been here a while, and there's not like a high concentration of people for like some mass sacrifice or anything.
Yeah. And if you stay and speak with the man long enough, he does eventually say like he'll probably just be punished until he acts happy again. Starts just like kind of mockingly saying, "All will be well."
Do we know why he's put in the stocks?
He had mentioned criminal unhappiness.
All right, cool.
Seems almost as if you're penalized for not pretending to be jolly during this festival.
Now you're getting the burgomaster? Festival's just a sham. There's a new one every week and not a damn one of them works.
Works for what?
We're protecting the town from the devil! Ha ha! All will be damned!
Sounds like we're on the highway to hell.
Perhaps we should head back to the bar.
Agreed.
Ditto.
Yep.
So heading out of that general area, you all can return to the bar in the way that you know in particular. Otherwise, you can kind of head off to like the north or the like southwest and vaguely understand from how like the roads are built that you'll get to that general area. But
Yeah, I'd like to sort of like explore a little bit, maybe go away we haven't. And on the way, I kind of want to keep a lookout for like the main store. I'm not sure if we specifically noticed it yet, but I want to kind of stop in and try to talk to like whoever the procurator is or whatever.
what kind of store are you looking?
Just sort of like if there's a place where we would maybe get our supplies, if we were looking for like, you know, weapons, ammunition, food, like just if there's like a general store or a blacksmith or something like that.
This is like kind of Victorian era, so it is one of the things where things are a little bit more like proper stores, like a specific trade that they do. So you do notice different things like blacksmiths through town, like outfitters. You notice someone who's like a leather worker, somebody who's like a woodworker. So there are very particular stores for those different things. You see like a toy shop, you see like different food eateries. There's a lot of different very like particular, I guess really not food eateries. That's kind of going too far. So what are you kind of looking for? Like just the general outfitter?
Yeah, if there's like a general outfitter or weapons type dude, I'm basically just looking to meet like key important NPCs for like relevance now or in the future.
If you go around asking about procuring weapons, you will get pointed towards the Burgomaster's mansion, and they will basically tell you that it's in like the southwestern tip of that like big rounding. So let's give basically told like southwest, which would be the Burgomaster, like kind of round the actual corner to the Burgomaster's there. And then some other key locations like the Blue Water Inn, the Wachter House.
To tell you the truth, now that I realize that Wachter and the Burgomaster are not affiliated, I think that would be a good idea for us to check out, meet the Burgomaster, and kind of like get. I'm sure there's something we'll be able to get from there.
Yeah, but trying to procure weapons, they point you towards the Burgomaster.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think we want to go that route then, if everybody's up for it.
Yeah, that's fine. As we go, has Lee seen any inkling of a thieves guild?
Looking around, you spot signs of activity. I don't think I would say anything that remotely perks you as it's a thieves guild. And again, I think it's clutch to recognize, though this is a big city, this is essentially a city of like maybe 200 people type of thing. It's still tiny.
Thanks.
There's probably not more than like 400 entire people in all of Barovia. Like, as meta knowledge. It's not a place that a thieves guild would necessarily operate.
So more wolves than people?
It is probably a pretty safe bet to guess that there are more wolves than people.
Sounds like Montana.
So,
So we
assuming...
go for it.
No, what were you saying?
Are we heading to the Burgermeister?
Yeah, so assuming you all are walking southwest, out of the main market, asking about weapons, you would be pointed towards the burgomasters, and basically told to kind of follow that southerly road, and eventually turn off at the mansion and its main gate. You would see that there's like an actual stables, and then drawn back from the street itself is the mansion that sits on essentially the highest ground of Vallaki. Probably the only thing that is relatively close to the same height is the actual chapel to the west of you all.
And the chapel we already went to, right?
Yep, that's the one I've got the triangle. So right now the X is the burgomaster. It was a terrible circle is the Blue Water Inn. The square is the Wachter House. The star is Vasily's, and then the triangle is the temple.
I guess Sarkis would say that kind of as they arrive. Perhaps our line of questioning can lead us a little more clarity as to the festival that's coming up.
We should just be careful not to criticize it.
Or call them another.
Yes, it looked like those were a little too tall for someone my size, so it may be particularly uncomfortable should I find myself locked in one.
Might just be able to slip out of it.
Yeah, or maybe they'd give me a little box to stand on, but I'd rather not find out.
You all see the gates before you, the main entryway, and then a large elaborate entrance up towards the front door.
And does this look like a government official or more like a home?
What are you thinking there?
Oh, like is it more like we're approaching like a courthouse, or is this like someone's like personal residence type thing?
Think more royalty level. These are still people who are essentially like by blood, they are better than everybody else.
So aristocrats?
Well, again, think royalty. Aristocracy, I believe, is money-based rulers. Oh wait, no, that's plutocrats. So yeah, it might be aristocracy. But the point is that's literally what the burgomasters are. They've described it as his family thinks they're royalty here. I feel like that you just got that from the guy in the stocks.
Box walks us up to the front door and knocks on the front door.
About 20 seconds go by until the door opens. All will be well. And you see a little servant person just like standing off to the side of the door, like out of the way with the door open, and they're standing very erect inside of the door, like standing at attention.
Good day, sir. Could we ask audience with the master of the house?
Oh, of course, into the main entryway. You can wait there. All will be well. And they walk off.
Box gives his party a nod and walks in through the front door.
Sarkis will follow and he'll sort of say like awkwardly, "All is well for now."
So like
Please, Bob.
You're just in like an entry area. It's very elaborate, very nice like presentation. There's a lot of different tapestry paintings, very elaborate, beautiful things like all around this main area. Very cushy chairs, and from just inside you can hear like a constant like chatter of speech from across the hall, and you just kind of wait for a little bit. There's laughter.
Sarkis will sort of like poke around, do like weird, awkward stuff, like try to like lift and pull behind like the cushions of the couch, or like poke things with his stick, like paintings, or like open up like the lids of like a vase, like just random, like kind of like nosy stuff.
There's no shortage of places to poke and prod in this room, and you spend a good bit of time kind of investigating around the parlor. There's a lot of cool shit just kind of sitting around, a lot of like knick-knacky type of stuff.
This is a nice place. Lots of cool knick-knacky type shit. Tempted to help myself, but perhaps not.
Things feel heavy and well made.
Just don't break anything.
Sort of like look particularly if there's like anything that I can eat, any like hard candies or like anything.
Roll an investigation check. You find little, like almost like thumbnail sized, like clear little pieces of what appear to be candy, and seem pretty confident that this is a treat.
Yeah, I'll just start eating them.
It's definitely not food.
Spit them back out.
It's like a glass poured marble kind of thing, like a handmade marble.
I don't know why someone would put that out. It looks like food. Whatever. I'll just like go back to like hanging out while we wait.
After a few moments of waiting, you see somebody kind of like pass by in the hall, and they kind of like double check and look back in, and they're like, "Oh, how wonderful! All will be well."
Indeed, all is well.
Have you come to take part in the party planning? All will be well.
He'll sort of like look back at the group, kind of confused. Of course we have.
Excellent. We're just enjoying ourselves in the other room here. Come with me. All will be well. She like ushers you back towards the other side of the hallway.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Me too.
Yeah.
See just a massive table, and there's about 10 people inside of the room. The lady who kind of brought you in is just really well dressed, holding a little bit of champagne in her hand, and she's kind of like pointing everybody out in the room. They all look very common. Not a single one of them has nice, clean clothing on. They all look very pale and emaciated. These people are clearly starving, struggling people, and all of them are just sitting in here weaving little wicker baskets into like wicker suns, like they're weaving little wicker globes, and they're making little like party toys and treats, all sun based. And as she kind of introduces each person around the table, she says after each one's name, "All will be well, all will be well," and just kind of goes on until she notices that her champagne is empty, and she starts to walk back away.
Guessing she's the only one with champagne.
There's champagne all around the actual table. there's a bunch of different like treats and food and different things like the drink on the actual table. You would notice that at her seat, she's not actually doing any crafting.
Has any of the food and drinks been touched or look like they've been touched?
Yes, definitely. As each person kind of like looks around a little like just kind of like cautiously after she leaves the room, they just kind of like look towards you and enjoy yourselves now. We only have it while we have it. All will be well.
Do we get the impression that they're like there by choice, or that they're like servitude?
You can either ask them or you can roll an insight check. They don't seem to be there by force. They all seem highly stressed.
And do we get the impression like that lady who just left was going to get the Burgomeister?
The initial person who greeted you was, yes.
Oh, okay. And that lady just kind of like ushered us into another room to wait.
Yeah, that was just like she was walking by, noticed you there, and invited you into the party.
Okay. So can Sarkis sort of make himself at home and start eating the food and drinking any non-alcoholic beverages?
Most certainly. There's plenty of all of those things.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'm gonna like just start like chowing down, maybe like pulling out the little handkerchief and like wrapping a little stuff up and kind of like jamming it in my pockets for later.
Not long until the woman returns with another bottle of champagne in her hand. Her glasses now filled back to the top. And she walks in and just immediately looks over everybody, kind of like presents herself with her like arms out wide and the champagne kind of like draped in her open hand and then the bottle like in her other hand. And she just kind of like floats into the room. All will be well.
How much of a happy drunk is she?
Like, do you all want to ask questions in character versus like, are you just trying to insight check this person to see if they are drunk? I want you to talk to NPCs.
Vox asks what's her name.
She like kind of presents her hand and like very daintily like does her little curtsy. God damn it, it's in my notes. Give me 1 second, my bad. Why, I'm the Baroness, Lydia Petronova, at your service. And she like bows low to you. And
Pleasure
will
to
be well.
meet you. All be well.
Baroness, that's a fancy title. Are you the wife of the Burgomeister?
Why, of course. Vargas is a wonderful man. All will be well.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm Sarkis. We are yet to meet Vargas, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to hearing out a little more about the festival and what it entails.
The Festival of the Sun's going to be so wonderful. All will be well. Key, what were you trying to ask though, or do you just want to do an insight check?
I'll do an insight, but she more or less just mumbled it underneath
Otherwise,
her
like
breath.
medicine?
Yeah,
Well, my
we'll go.
question was if you were going to say something to her to ask her a question, rather than just try to roll dice for it. Because again, I want you all to try to be in character. You don't have to do voices, but to actually ask questions from your character instead of just those, does she seem like a happy drunk?
Or like an assumption that she's a very happy drunk.
And that's perfectly fine if you just want to assume it. But that doesn't build anything.
Will we get to see the first part today?
My bad, I lost that, Al. What were you saying, Flea?
I'm asking the lady if we will get to see the Burgermeister today.
Oh, if you have an appointment, I'm sure he'll be here shortly. He's a very busy man. All will be well.
Perhaps you could answer some of our curiosity in the meantime. Is this the first Sun Festival?
Oh yes, isn't it a brilliant idea to celebrate the sun? All will be well.
Doesn't seem like too bad of an idea, but I'm not sure how often the sun comes out here, so maybe that will help it a little bit, or what is the intention of this festival, just out of curiosity?
We're trying to protect the Vallaki. All will be well.
Protect it from Strahd or darkness or
Devil.
both?
All will be well.
Yeah, the devil, Strahd, you're referring to, correct?
The devil, yes, yes. All will be well.
Interesting. And without being presumptuous, whatever you've been doing seems to work, as Strahd doesn't come inside the gates of the city, no?
Yes, we are very fortunate to celebrate so many wonderful festivals that keep the devil away. All will be well. Are you not excited for the Festival of the Burning Sun? All will be well.
Yes, we're very excited. Not as excited as some of the other people in town. Everyone seems very excited.
This is
But,
going to be the best festival yet. All will be well.
Out of curiosity, in comparison to like the other festivals, are you hoping to get some different results? Otherwise, it would seem like whatever god or festival you've been celebrating has been working quite well, no?
And we will celebrate every week until we have no more celebrations, no more need, until the devil is removed. All will be well.
Has anyone ever tried to remove the devil by force or other means?
We would never fight against the devil. We don't want to anger him. All will be well.
So you fear him, but don't stand up against him, correct?
Those who stand against the devil are only doomed to die a terrible death. All will be well. All will be well. All will be well.
Seems like a rather unsustainable dynamic, but I can't argue your rationale.
We are all doomed to the same place. We just want to make our way. Have you never been to a festival? Have you been shirking your needs and your requirements as a good Vallakian? All will be well.
We're rather new to the city, so we've not been to any festivals yet. Matter of fact, we're new to the area. We've only just gotten here and started exploring. We've had the pleasure of meeting Strahd.
You should have to work doubly hard to make up for your terrible, terrible choices. All will be well. Please, make more. All will be well. And she starts just, like, handing you different, like, things from the different, like, women who are crafting around the table. Just trying to give you things. Like, make more of these. Make these cards. Make these flyers. Make these little presents. And she's just, like, very nervously, like, handing you all just random shit.
Does this festival involve sacrifices?
Yes, yes, we will burn the sun for the wonders of the blazing sun. All will be well.
Baroness, do you mind if I ask if you have any relationship to Lady Wakta?
Evil bitch. No. No, she's. No, no. No, all will be well.
Well, we had the, well, I'm not sure if we could say pleasure of meeting her the other day. I wonder if there's anything you could tell us about her.
Met the devil and her? Are you all agents of the devil? All will be well.
No, 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 no.
She is an evil, vile woman. All will be well.
Yeah, we've been told that she might have an item of interest to us. However, one that she probably would not be willing to avail to us. Is there anything you could tell us that might assist us in acquiring such an item against perhaps her will?
We are a town of happy people, happy in joy, and thievery is not okay, even if she is vile trash. All will be well.
Understood.
Her, face, twitches.
Did she say thievery?
Any illegal activity is not conducive to happiness and will be jailed. All will be well.
But are the people happy in jail?
They will find happiness, or they will be the first to be removed from Vallaki. All will be well. And she just has the grandest, biggest smile on her face.
Where do the people that are removed go, or what is done with them?
Back into the cycle. Whatever happens to them happens. And Vallaki is safe. All will be well. About
Oh,
what were you thinking?
I was just going to ask about this place to acquire weapons as well. Is that right?
About that point, while you're asking that, you actually see as a large man steps into the doorway, kind of looks over everything. Good to see you, Lydia. All will be well. And what weapons do you require? Just wearing a big fur coat. He's got almost silk robes on underneath and just many layers of very fine fabrics. Very colorful man. Bald head, little bit of a beard, kind of a scraggly here and there beard.
The finest that you have, perhaps magical or anything that could avail us to perhaps supernatural beings.
Perhaps you are trouble to Vallaki. We do not come here to try to fight the devil. We will use our goodness to find a way to leave this land. All will be well. Celebrate with me, everyone. All will be well, and all 10 other people in that room say in unison with the burgomaster, all will be well.
Okay, even regular weapons, all will be well.
Yes, but what do you require to fight? We do not condone the fighting of the devil. If the devil chooses to take you, you are gone. We must not fight him. We must use the power of goodness to defeat the devil. All will be well. And everybody in unison, all will be well.
Sarkis is going to start awkwardly saying, all will be well, whenever everybody else says it.
You see like a little bit of like a flick of a smile on the burgomaster's face that is otherwise emotionless as he's gone through everything here. But when he starts to notice you saying all will be well with everyone else, you can see that like resonates with him. Please, you all have come to visit us. Is it only for weapons that you are in Vallaki? Do you intend to bring trouble to our walls?
It's actually quite the contrary. I can't speak for everyone, but we really don't seek out any weapons, more like the procurer of weapons, the leader of this city.
Well, you have found me. All will be well. And everybody in unison, all will be well.
Yes, all will be well. And we are indeed pleased that we found you and just wanted to make some introductions so that we didn't seem like strange travelers just visiting.
Strange travelers are nothing new to us. We understand what it is the devil desires. And if his play toys bring trouble to us, we will have to ask you to leave. We do not intend to bring any extra trouble our way.
Yes, we've gotten the impression that there's little resistance to the devil. And while all will be well, sense a means to break free of his control.
We are very hopeful that if everybody is happy and joyful here in Vallaki, we will be moved to a new place, free from the devil's grasp. All will be well. All will be well. As Lydia sits back down to enjoy a little bit more of her champagne, the Baron is going to usher you all out of that room and towards his study on the second level. Please join me. Let us not interrupt their crafts any further. They must prepare for the Sun Festival, and afterwards you all can come down here and join them. But as long as you have questions to ask, we should not distract them from their duties. All will be well. All will be well.
Most certainly. They were just a benefit, but we're here to see you.
So he takes you all up into his library and study. There's a single really nice chair that is behind a very large desk, and then two other kind of fluffy chairs on each side of the hearth. And otherwise this is a very large room, but there are small, very utilitarian chairs lining the walls, and he sits next to one of the chairs at the hearth and just pulls out a large pipe roughly the size of his fist and starts to pack and go through the process of preparing to smoke, and very clearly is stuffing a fistful of tobacco into this pipe, very excessively is my point. This guy is doing well for his life and living in a very luxurious moment in existence. And you kind of hear him mumbling here and there as he's going through the process. All will be well.
Burgermeister, you have many fine books in this room. Are there any books that I can read about the Sun Festival in?
The Sun's Festival is my creation. This will be the first one. If you are lucky, people will tell of it for ages to come. All will be well.
Excellent. Will there be human sacrifices?
You are ghastly. No one would sacrifice a human. What a terrible thought.
Good to hear.
Do you think it would help?
No, sir, I do not.
He pulls out like a piece of paper and he scribbles down a little note. All will be well. Excellent, yes.
Population of Vallaki -1. So if you don't mind me asking, what is the goal of the Sun Festival? Is it to stop Strahd from coming to this place? Is it to free yourselves finally? What is your goal here?
My family has ruled this land for many hundreds of years, and about 3 hours later he's still talking, and it is my theory that as long as we are stuck in this land of Strahd's destruction and grasp, we will ever be stuck in this land, and if we are happy, despite all of the terribleness, we will be free.
As he stops talking, Sarkis wakes up and just says, "All will be well."
All will be well, yes, yes.
Interesting. I'm glad I asked.
Like, to make a long story short, 4 hours later.
Can I do an insight check to see if he has been like, if I feel like he's being legitimate with us, like truthful with us, or sincere?
Yeah, I don't think you like really need a roll. This is like depending on what you're actually getting at, whether I'm answering the question.
I guess to throw it out there, Sarkis is trying to figure out, is this like just like a puppetry type thing for show, or does he legitimately believe that this is gonna like help against Strahd?
This man is batshit crazy, and he is legitimately hopeful that if everybody were happy in Vallaki, they would no longer be stuck in Strahd's realm.
Okay, perfect. That answered all my questions.
So no need to do an insanity check.
I mean, as far as things go, he seems quite sane. I think that's one of the things that people often miss on what it really means to be crazy. Like, this guy believes everything that he says. It doesn't change anything that he is very clearly, from most people's perspectives, grasping at some batshit crazy ideas. But whether he's insane or crazy, I think it is legitimate for anybody to call him batshit crazy. But it doesn't mean that one day Vallaki won't just pop out of existence and no longer be in Barovia. And that's what he's hoping for. Like, as he describes this over and over again, you can tell that he is convinced that if he forces everybody to be happy, Vallaki will just blink out of existence and no longer be in Strahd's Barovia.
And let's ask him what people of interest we could visit perhaps whilst we are traveling or visiting the town.
Wait, you want to ask him about people of interest in the town?
Yeah.
Alright, how are you going to ask that? Go, shoot.
Are there many people or any people of interest that you could point us out whilst we observe the city's festivals and our comings around the town? We want to familiar ourselves with all people of interest and notability in your eyes.
He lifts up a mirror. Yes, there are. All will be well.
Would you mind sharing any of those names or places we could visit after seeing your good self?
He answered you. He picked up a mirror. He's looking at the person of interest. The only person of interest.
All will be well.
Yes, yes. All will be well.
Then, sir, is there anyone we should particularly be avoiding?
We try to deal with our criminal elements as they show themselves, but we are usually pretty successful in turning the maliciously unhappy into quite happy citizens, and then they are allowed to return to their duties. So, in general, avoid those who are in the stocks. They are there for a reason. Scum as they are, maybe one day they will be bright and shining like a blazing sun. All will be well.
Fox feels like he's getting a bit itchy fingers and starts making shuffly feet as if he wants to signal to the group that we should move on.
So, assuming that you all slow down on actually discussing with him, he will send you all back to work, preparing for the Festival of the Blazing Sun, with a few more all will be wells.
Oh, I do have one more question or line of comments for him.
What are you thinking?
Oh, sorry. All will be well. Before we go, just out of curiosity, I know we just appear to be regular travelers, of which you've probably seen many more spectacular or intimidating, but being new to town and whatnot, you seem like a powerful man. Perhaps we could gain your trust through a series of activities. I know you're in charge of this town, so you seem like a valuable ally. Is there anything we could do for you other than knitting together sticks and knickknacks for the festival, of course, which we will gladly participate in? Anything a little more challenging or perhaps dangerous?
If you would like to join the guards, we can most certainly bring you into the fold. But you must learn that sharing happiness and joy is the primary function of the guards. All will be well.
All will be well. That's all I had.
So he just kind of silently turns away from you all and just starts to ignore you, basically. And it's not long before he has his servant opens the door and just kind of presents the way out from you all.
All will be well. I'll stare at him until he says it back.
He would repeat it to you. I'm just getting tired of saying it.
All right, where do you guys want? Well, I guess you would just walk out then. Maybe say goodbye to the madam as we kind of walk out.
I hope the point got across, but it was hard enough to say it when I was just saying it. But repeating it once he was around other people, whew. I've been dreading that actual part for so fucking long about running Curse of Strahd. Because, goddamn.
No, I love that guy. And I honestly pictured him telling this extremely long story, and Sarkis falls asleep, and then all of a sudden he's startled back to wake and just says, "All will be well," like just a parrot.
I'm gonna have to take a break here, just real quick. But that was one of the things that I was getting at, where when you're like, "Oh, tell us about yourself," or anybody who is important to get to know, and I'm like, the moment he had a chance to tell his family story, he told you guys like a 4-hour story about his family coming to town, and like that right there was my point on like him picking up a mirror and like telling you who you should get to know in town. Like this guy is the Apple in his own life. He is the most wonderful thing to ever happen to Vallaki, to Barovia, to everything, and he loves himself for how wonderful he is.
Yeah, as
Brilliant.
soon as you like started telling the story, I was just like, oh, I can sum that up in one word in my notes: vain. I'm like, next. Yeah, that's what's up. If nobody else walks away, or regardless, if you want to talk about our next like course of action while he takes a break or whatever.
Oh yeah, you guys are definitely welcome, but I am gonna step away.
Yeah, that was useful. At least we got like a little more idea, I think, of like the actual intention and what the deal is. So it sounds like they basically just do these bullshit festivals, like hoping something will work eventually, like throwing shit against the wall, hoping it'll stick.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's many places to ask for jobs or stuff like that either. That might help us. Kind of curious where to go next from here.
Yeah, I think probably going to the bar. That seems like that's like the local, like kind of like whatever you want to call it, water cooler. Like if we're gonna find any like random stuff or kind of get like DM NPC drops, I feel like that's where it would happen.
Right. Yeah.
But it definitely makes sense to like get to know the burgomaster, and then also that kind of closes that loop at least temporarily. Like that's why I specifically wanted to ask him if he wanted us to like do a job for him or any dirty work or something to prove ourselves.
Yeah, good shout. Good shout. There was one thing from last week I was just curious about, unfortunately, because I was a bit late getting there. You know when you guys went back to the gypsy camp?
Yeah.
So I remember from the tarot card readings that there was one guy in particular who said that he was around, he lost his friend. He was like a ally or something like that, hiding in plain sight or something. I remember there was one NPC that we passed when we were looking for people of interest in the camp. One guy kind of just sprawled, just chilling there on his own. And apparently, that in the camp there was an item that we would need for our journey. I don't know if anyone picked up on that.
Yeah, after you mentioned it last week, I think, or whatever, that was the one you said was a great warrior hiding in sight, the wagon of wonders that brings joy. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That one.
That's kind of after you mentioned it at the end of last session. We went back this session and asked like some questions, like at the very beginning, like right before you got here today. So we went back to the gypsy camp and we basically like poked around and tried to like find anything that fit that description. And the DM basically kind of said like this is a big world and like there's a lot of people you haven't met yet. Don't get like too caught up in one spot type thing.
Ah, okay, good to know. Thanks.
Yeah, part of what I said there was for Key, if you had anything in mind to speak to the guy, let me know. And we can kind of retcon it if you want to ask that character some questions. But part of what I was trying to say was, in general, about all of your clues, you guys are on the first page of this adventure. That right now, it should look like many, many avenues are ahead of you, and you just have to start pursuing those questions, because that's essentially the mystery. The mystery is afoot right now. That you're just now starting to meet people, because essentially I think 3 or 4 of the sessions were all Death House, which was all the Durst Manor, and that's all just extra stuff from the appendix, just to start it at level 1 instead of at a higher level. But Vallaki is essentially, you guys are inside of a sandbox and you were just handed the shovel and everything is in front of you.
The only other thing I remember from last week as well was that Lady Wakta's place. When the DM was describing the place itself, because we uncovered that she has an item of interest for us, but she's not going to give it over. On the description of the place leading to into her place, it sounded like there were other points of entry that we could take advantage of if we were doing less than, not so great, not nice ways of maybe sneaking in or burgling the place.
Yeah, I think we basically established that we need to at least figure out either to do something shady, like what you said, or figure out like some kind of in. But we definitely established that that is in fact Strahd's ally, and that she has something that would be like a key to defeating him. But I don't. I think we're gonna have to figure out some kind of in or some way to bribe her, or threaten her, or coax her. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, gotcha. That's everything I had.
Yeah, I think
But
one
one
of the
thing, one other thing we did talk about though, before you got here today is we were kind of talking about how the Vistani at first kind of appeared like Strahd's allies, so maybe they were bad also. But in all actuality, Strahd is just powerful, and a lot of people just probably do what he wants, like to not get completely fucked. So there's like kind of a difference between people that are friends with him and people are friendly with him, sort of.
Okay, gotcha.
And you all did get the response from Madame Eva that there are sweet Vistani, sour Vistani, and those who are rotten to the core. Because you had asked something along those lines, like basically like, what's the deal with the Vistani? Are you evil or what?
Yeah, it was sort of like don't just think of us all as good or evil, but there's like good, bad, useful, etc. So that was kind of an important distinction too.
Oh, I did. I think I said it as we're all just normal people.
Yeah, but that was definitely a useful distinction because like initially I got the impression like they were all kind of like evil and against us. And then now that's why we were kind of avoiding them, and I think that was sort of a mistake.
Well, it does also confirm, though, that the people of Barovia are racist against Vistani because of that relationship that the Vistani have with Strahd. You don't know what that relationship is other than hearing of it from the racists. And Madame Eva, I don't think you necessarily asked in particular about that, but Madame Eva basically told you the Vistani are just humans. We're good, bad, and rotten.
Oh wait, did she actually say that they are humans?
I might have said people, but they're humanoids, yeah. As far as things go, the Vistani are a human race.
Okay, yeah, but they clearly have some kind of special powers that allow them to travel between like the planes, right?
I don't think you all have any understanding of that. I think you have heard that they have been allowed to travel. That's one of those things. It's hard to say when I'm improvising, like how I word a specific thing.
Okay, no, that's cool. So we don't know any distinction right now if it's like a racial trait, a magic ability, or like anything. We have no clue.
Yeah,
But
for what it is now, you all know that they have, let's go for access to the ability at this point. Where that access comes from, you guys just know that the Vistani seem to be able to travel between the realms.
Okay, I got you. I just wanted that distinction kind of because right now, like for Sarkis, he's thinking like main goal is to try to get at least this girl back, if not all of them, back to like reality. So he's looking at how we're gonna figure out to get the Vistani to help us. So what are you guys thinking? Does anybody have a specific goal or place to check out in mind, or do you want to just try the watering hole?
Watering hole sounds like the safe bet, and just kind of see what we can delve from there.
So just assuming an entry into the Blue Water Inn while we wait for everybody to kind of return. We can place you all back into the Blue Water Inn. You kind of go in. Think it's kind of early in the day, still kind of like evening-ish, but still like a little bit early, still probably before the full setting into darkness. You would notice that the bard is again playing, and very noticeably, like gets choked up the moment he sees Kavi, and kind of like trips up on his playing to notice her re-entering the bar. And you'll kind of see Erwin like look up at him and just kind of chuckle a little bit and welcome you all back to the Blue Water Inn. Welcome there, all. Starting off with another bit of the old Dragon Crush. I think I just combined both of the wines. Red Dragon Crush? That sounds right.
Red Dragon and the Candy Crush. Yes, good to be back. Appreciate you. And I'll kind of like just purvey the place and see if there's anybody I recognize, and order like another round of whatever everybody normally gets. And, discuss, get a table with him, etc. But I want to kind of like peek around and see anybody suspicious, anybody we know.
I'm here.
It seems a little calm at present. You do notice that the Wachter brothers are still are inside of the tavern. They seem to have a bottle of Dragon Crush, and they are starting to enjoy themselves some wine. But other than that, like it's still pretty calm. It's really like the three people. You see the two boys, children of the purveyor, kind of playing around upstairs near the bar, or near the bard. But otherwise, right now, everything's pretty calm.
All right, interesting. I guess depending if everybody's still sitting around or like sitting at a table or standing around or whatever, we'll bring everybody's drinks to them or whatever, and kind of sit down. But I'd like to talk to those boys again, I think.
So just like seeing you walk nearby, they take a moment to like yell out to you anyways, and kind of holler to you, come here, little one. Tell us some stories of your travels. Entertain us. Be a good little storyteller for us. And
Oh, of course. Hello, boys. You're not hard to find, I see.
got nothing special to do. We'll be here most days. Enjoy seeing the different travelers, and you never know when of our travelers gonna show up, and they're dead, usually as quick as they do. Gotta get those stories on the stars.
I know what you mean, especially a little old one like me. Probably not going to last long out here. It was Carl and Nikolai, right? And I'm going to like point to them wrong, like opposite their names.
The younger one like chuckles a little bit, and says, Carl. And the older one like looks at you, and he's just like somewhat angered, and he's like, I am the lord of the Wachter house. Please appreciate my standing. I am the eldest Nikolai Wachter. Please remember.
Whatever.
Oh, no, excuse me. And Sarkis will hold his fingers up in front of his face, and they'll like bring it closer to his face and cross his eyes, and then like cross them back. And they'll go, oh, yeah, that's right. Carl and Nikolai, got it. So you want to hear a story, do you?
Yes, tell us about your lands, your adventures, where you have come from, where you will be going.
Oh man, where do I even start? Oh, I've got a million stories. Not too many exciting ones. To tell you the truth, most of the excitement's happened in the last couple weeks. Um, Honestly, a lot of it has been here. So the majority of my stories actually are from your land, which is kind of awkward considering my age. And they'll just kind of like ramble on, but never really.
They're not long in getting quite rude about the fact that they are not listening to you either.
Yeah, that's perfect because I feel like you wouldn't have anything like particularly exciting to say.
Yeah, the moment like it becomes clear that you're not like telling a story of a faraway land or like some crazy adventure, they're just like lost to it and just kind of like zone out.
Well, okay. I guess Sarkis is going to try to get their attention again at some point in time, and just sort of like start talking. We met your mother, Lady Wachter. She was very nice, very kind.
Are you sure you didn't meet a doppelganger?
No, I was just being polite. She was telling us about her relationship with the devil, and just getting to know her and whatnot.
Yes, we have a long connection with the Zaroviches.
Ah, yes, of course. There was some slight confusion as I mistook that she was actually married to the Burgomeister, probably just because of my old age, but there was some like little laughter had about that.
Nikolai looks downtrodden a little bit. My father, Nikolai Wachter, passed away some 3 years ago now. It is quite unfortunate.
Ah, my condolences. How old was he?
Some 50 years maybe.
50 years?
Don't-
50 human years?
Don't really pay too much attention about my father's age, but I think he was in his 50s maybe.
Well, let me just be honest with you boys, okay? I'm obviously half the size, probably, or more of your father, and at least 10 years elder, so don't hold back with me. You never know when it's going to be the last time around here.
Another drink?
Actually, I'm kind of curious. Maybe you can satiate some of my mental thirst. Tell us more about this artifact or item that your mother has. I'm curious. I love trinkets. And I'm gonna try to like convince them to like tell me like I don't know, kind of like under the table like about the cool shit or whatever. I don't know what I would have to do, like a persuasion maybe or something.
Well, let's skip that at first because they don't know about what you're talking about. So their initial response is, the things our mother gets to in the night, we know very little of. If she has some wonders, it is beyond us. There are many ancient things in our family, but it does not mean that we have access to them. What, pray tell, are you speaking of? What sort of powerful thing?
Again, I get easily confused with my age, and sometimes I just sort of drift off like into the distance and forget what I was even talking about. But no, I just love trinkets and magic, and I'm fascinated by these things. So, or even just cool or exciting stories or valuable knowledge that maybe one shouldn't have, sort of the rebellious nature. And again, I'll just kind of like trail off a little bit.
So, roll a persuasion. These two aren't a good source of information, but let's see. They seem less interested in talking about things so much as kind of provoking stories from you in the same way that you're trying to do from them. And while neither of you are being very successful at sharing for the other's sake, they seem more interested in conversations about like evil things that kind of touch the land and what sort of like creepy demonic things that you might have come across in Barovia. And that's kind of where a lot of their thoughts go. They have conversations about some of the weird trinkets that devils might use. But in general, you don't really get a lot from them so much as you're able to keep the conversation going. And it seems that they're most focused on that idea of like, I don't know, some of the evil that you might be able to discuss with them.
Oh, I thought of a story. I thought of something. So we were running away, trying to avoid Strahd, and we crossed the path, and the carriage was behind us, and we're running, and the wolves were chasing us, and we were jinking to the left and to the right through the woods, and they were hot on our tail. And then we ran to the lighthouse, and they'll just start telling them about what happened and telling the story about like the witches or whatever they were, the crazy old ladies that tried to drug and eat us. Trying to like gain a little bit of clout with them.
That is a very interesting story. That old windmill has a long history in these lands. They say that it was an ancient place long before the devil even came here. Long before the Vanzoroviches came and conquered this land, that was an ancient place. Very interesting that there is a magical little old lady there.
You never had a run-in with the lady from the windmill? Have you ever left Vallaki?
I have left here and there, but I have found I have everything that I could want here, and leaving has never come to light.
Don't take this the wrong way, and I'm gonna get like kind of like close to their face. I don't know if I have to like crawl up on the chair a little bit and kind of look, but I'm gonna like squint in real close, and then just so I can kind of like watch his reaction, and I'm gonna ask him, "Have you boys ever been to Barovia?"
They kind of like look back at each other, look at you. I think I went when I was 6 or 8. It was many years ago.
Have you ever what's the last city you went to other than Vallaki recently?
Barovia?
You don't know the windmill that I'm talking about. You've never even heard stories about it?
No, they told you like that windmill's an interesting place. They've
Okay, but so they know about the ladies that live there and everything. Like they're pretty well known for their cakes and whatever, but nobody else seems to act like they're evil.
like they weren't surprised by your story. They were intrigued by your story.
Okay, but my line of questioning, I've already gotten a lot of really good answers for them for sure. One main thing was you had mentioned previously that when they told us the distance from Barovia to here, that people were kind of just saying, but maybe had never even been. And now I'm getting the impression or straight up answer, these two kids have pretty much never even left this city before, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to convey here, that these are like two little rich kids who they live vicariously through talking to people in this tavern and have never left Vallaki. And what stories they've heard, they might be selling as their own to you.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
But yeah, like most people have never traveled between these places. Most people don't leave where they exist. And a lot of that is like, again, this is meant to be like Gothic era where most people, their lives are essentially working. So if you're like harvesting, you might be an itinerant worker who like travels to work a different farm. But in general, you pretty much exist where you exist.
Okay, so without completely hijacking the conversation, and anybody's welcome to jump in anytime. Sarkis is sort of just like doing like a detective thing right now, but anybody else can jump in. But I'm gonna specifically ask them. So boys, you obviously like stories and adventure and whatnot. Is there anyone in this town? And I'll kind of like whisper in, anybody that's done any badass things or just cool stuff, awesome stories you've heard about, like amazing warriors or anybody cool around here, stories to tell me? And I want to try to find out if they know like who could potentially be, you know, like the total badass like around here. I'm sort of looking for like the great warrior.
There are very few people in Vallaki who have any prowess to them. Most far travelers do not live long before Strahd consumes them. You will find valor is a quick way to death, and joining the procession of the dead. But
Come on, give me the juicy stuff. Isn't there like a guard captain that's a total badass or something, or like some hunter that just like kills the most wolves? There's got to be some juice. Come on, give it to me, boys.
Isaac fancies himself someone of note, but he is little more than the plaything of Valkovich. I think Isaac has made a deal with the devil, and he looks over at Kavi and kind of just says, he has familiarities that you may find intriguing. But to say that Isaac is something special, it would be a crime for us to admit he is anything at all. He is a flea to be taken care of. But you know, we have people visit us. They tell stories. They disappear. Sometimes they sing from the rafters about their escapades. And they can't even play a violin.
When he says Flea to be taken care of, Sarkis is gonna look over at Flea like kind of concerned, like it's a threat.
Oh, my
Sure.
bad. That was definitely me forgetting that Flea's name was also Flea.
Oh, I caught it.
You can definitely take it as a threat, though, but I don't think you've introduced yourselves to the brothers where they know your names.
Hi, I'm Flea, you little snot.
You would do well to respect us in our city.
Earn it. And with that, he's going to return to his meal. everything got kind of quiet.
Oh, they would stop talking when you're insolent.
Oh, Sarkis will still just kind of keep like conversating with him or whatever.
They more or less quiet down and stop talking to you as well. This is their city. They're rich, spoiled brats. They're not gonna take that. So, as the conversation dies off, you hear the wonderful music of the bard from up above continue on into the evening. Some more people start to flow into the tavern itself. You see the hunters return from the night before. Very, like, weather-worn men. They come in loud and boisterous and order a few carafes of the purple mash and just kind of sit down, have like a little bit of like the stewed marrow, and then eventually request like they just go into like eating a massive meal kind of thing. What other thoughts do you all have? What would you like to poke and prod?
Javi, are you going to play for us tonight?
I think I could play a little something. What'd you have in
Please
mind?
don't! Nobody wants you here! You see the bard like put his hand up to his mouth and try to throw his voice to the side.
Whatever you feel like playing sounds good.
Just leave!
Just learn how to sing.
Nobody likes you here!
Sarkis is gonna look around confused, like, where's that coming from? Who are these people?
It's like clearly nobody on the upper level, but there's like 17 different people saying Kavi shouldn't play.
For the record, I totally laughed out loud when you said that.
Like, there's actually 17 people, or just sounds like 17 people?
No, it's the bard is the only person upstairs, and he's very not cleverly putting his hand to his mouth, trying to throw his voice as he's talking shit about you, not playing for all of the people who do not exist.
Performance,
Go ahead.
performance check on actually throwing my voice, saying, like, I'm better than you.
You can do a performance check, or if you have like thaumaturgy, I know that can do it.
When you said leave, nobody wants you here, and he like holds his hand to his face, I literally laughed out loud.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure thaumaturgy lets you throw your voice, so it's not even a question. You can just do it. Yeah, I guess it calls it the whisper. It's probably one of the other ones, but still, like, for what it's worth, I think it's perfectly acceptable for you to throw your voice with thaumaturgy.
It says your voice booms up to, like, 3 times louder for 1 minute.
Well, the other one, though, that I'm talking about, like, is the throwing your voice, is that you can create the instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice. It doesn't say specifically that, like, you can yell from it or something, ominous whispers, but, like, for what it's worth, I think it's in that spell that there's enough things that say that you can both throw the sound effect to somewhere else as well as use your voice to do it. So I think it would be perfectly acceptable for you to like throw your voice to right next to his head, and he immediately just shuts the fuck up and walks away, and he's just walks back downstairs, sits at the bar, and just like slouches in front of Erwin again.
Javi decides to do something a little bit different and starts playing on the upper level.
You guys over here. Erwin, do you know how long these people are gonna be here? This woman's killing me. Next time Erwin comes over to the table to take care of any of you all, tries to nonchalantly like set everything down, ask if there's gonna be anything else, and he's like, do you all know how long you're gonna be staying here in the Blue Water Inn?
I guess somebody doesn't like any friendly competition.
So no plans. That's good. Will there be anything else for you all? And he walks away.
I want to maybe ask the bartender a little bit about the wolves, or if there's still some hunters around, maybe ask them.
The hunters are at a nearby table, or you can go to Erwin.
Oh yeah, if there's hunters there, I'll look for like the most badass looking hunters and go talk to them.
It's essentially the same two who you've seen like a few nights now.
So, do you guys always hunt during the day? Do you go out at night? What's like a good amount of kills for you? Do you sell those pelts there or the meat? Like, and he's just gonna start asking
Slow
all
it down
kinds
there,
of
old fellow. If you
So
want
I'm
to
not
learn
sure
how
how much
to,
longer I got.
if you want to, if you're gonna hunt at night, you're not gonna last much longer at all. If you want to hunt here in Vallaki, you need to go into the woods during the days. To leave these walls at night is suicide.
Interesting. And when you're hunting them, is it more like you just go out there and then you find them because they try to eat you, or do you have to like hunt them because they're sleeping?
There's a long process to hunting the wolves. Sometimes it's as easy as killing a wolf that's coming to eat you, but most of the time we're hunting them on our grounds.
And what's like your typical run-in? Is there like a dozen of them, or like you just look for one like that's kind of limping around a little bit, or?
If we're tracking one that's injured, we will most certainly kill that one. But most of the time, it's trying to use traps, and mostly going to harvest from those traps. But we're pretty successful with the spear.
That's very interesting. I'm not much of a killer myself. I don't know if I could even take on a wolf. I mean, I'm pretty efficient in combat, and I'll sort of like take my little walking stick and start like kind of like spinning it around, and then I'll start like huffing and puffing a little bit out of breath.
You've got a wolf biting into your neck, I bet you that staff will become mighty useful for you. But you might find it more useful with a bit of steel on the end. Should perhaps look into a little more, wolf-friendly things to be carrying around.
It's actually I can't really kill. Technically, I'm like forbidden from it, or at least it's discouraged. So.
And he like, while he's chuckling, he slaps his friend on the back, and just a massive swash of wine just falls over the table as this guy's just dying laughing in front of you.
Sarkis will laugh right along with him, and then at the end he'll just stop laughing and say, "Well, at least that's my excuse," and he'll sort of like wink at him.
Yeah, you get a wolf biting down on your neck, you'll be wanting to learn how to kill it.
Well, maybe you guys could take me out sometime and I could watch. My buddies and I wouldn't mind a little action.
We make our way by hunting and selling the wolf's meat. But if you all need a little training, or if you care for a guide, we can certainly start a negotiation over buying us a bottle of wine, and perhaps this negotiation can end in a decision about us aiding you in travels and things that you might care for. But let's start with a drink and see what you like from there.
Ah, perfect. So Sarkis is gonna lock it down and buy him a bottle of wine for like
Ha, my man, you understand us well. Excellent. You've bought our time. And what sort of training do you need in hunting wolves? He like stares into you, like kind of cocking his head so his eyes like almost looking like left of you, like his like center line from his nose, but like his right eye is like perched just a little bit closer to your face. And he's got a heavy musk of somebody who lives in the wild.
the truth is, I wouldn't be like the actual one hunting it. Again, it's sort of like frowned upon with my people, but you know, to essentially just be like sort of a tourist on safari kind of thing.
And where do you need to go on tour? You just need bodyguards?
Oh no, nowhere in particular at the moment. We're not even planning on leaving the city. We got the festival coming up and everything. Just sort of mingling. Yes, I'm excited for it too. It sounds like it's going to be a jolly good time. We're all going to be well, and yeah.
Well, surely you'll have a great time enjoying the Burgomaster's festivals. But if you're a learned man, it won't take you two.
I've been sort of just trying to do like a little bit of a yes man thing lately. I'm getting a little older and it's dangerous around here, and I'm not that big, so I figure I might as well just have a little fun with it.
Say yes to killing wolves! And like puts his fist out to you, just like raising it up, super excited to kill some wolves with you.
Nice. Hell yes, gentlemen. I'll be taking you up on that sometime in the near future with my friends here. So, but in the meantime, and he'll just kind of go back to the crew now after spending like an awkwardly long time around there. Oh, that could come in useful. There's some nice gentlemen over there, the local hunters. You guys pick up any interesting information or anything? Need any interesting people?
I'm assuming they were loud enough that we could hear them at the table, right?
Yeah, and they're not far away.
Hey, do you think get them to guide us to somewhere interesting?
Yeah, definitely. They said they would take us out on the hunt or whatever, but learn some very important things. Obviously, don't go out at night or you will die. And hunting wolves is really just 50-50 actually going after them in the woods versus just like going out there and letting them try to eat you.
They have a second floor. Is there like any like sort of like a group or a couple that's like being kind of like hush hush in their conversation?
The second floor is the balconies where all the like rooms are. So you all have stayed up in the second floor, I think. At least once that you've stayed at the Blue Water Inn, but there's nobody up there. The bard was up there to like project.
Like acoustics.
Yep. That's why as soon as you go up there, he like dejectedly like goes back downstairs to the bar.
So what to next? Where's Kavi? I just picture her, like, walking around upstairs by herself.
Well, I assume when she starts playing, she is essentially playing for the rest of the evening.
She needs to get a free room somehow.
So what are we thinking, folks? Did anybody do anything else while Sarkis was talking to the hunters? Does anybody have any thoughts right now for this evening?
Well, I'm really wondering if the hunters can, get us somewhere where we can get going on the road to adventure.
Are you going to talk to the hunters?
I'll ask Sarkis if he wants to go up with me, break the ice mix.
Oh yeah, of course. I'd be glad to introduce you to I don't think I ever got their names, and they didn't seem very concerned with mine. But that's a good reason to go back up to them, and I'll go back up and like get their attention.
I'll take a bottle of wine with me.
Looking back off at you, they notice pretty quickly as you head over, and they're like, "Hey, it's Half Pint!"
Yes. I didn't catch your names, and then I'll ask them their names, and then introduce them to Flea, so he can kind of.
The first one a little bit more boisterous, and the one who was talking about like trapping and spearing them will introduce himself as Solstar, and the other one who seems to be a little bit more nimbly, and the one who would have been the archer, kind of talking about like defending himself, kind of as like the ranged getting Solstar's back is Yevgeny. Good to meet you, little flea. Did they call you that because of the itching? And he like scruffles your head.
Yeah, I've got plenty of sleep. They're like old friends.
No strangers to rats and the fleas that they bring aboard.
That's my note at the half pint. Kavi totally went off key and snickered a lot.
As you come forward with the wine, they'll actually take the bottle from you while he's like scruffling his head, and Solar will start to pour himself another glass. You're all just gonna start supporting our drink? It sounds like you should hire us already. If you're this prepared to support our drinking, you're prepared enough to have our time.
Oh hell, drinking's just the start.
Wait, I thought we did hire you. That's what the bottle was for, right?
The bottle was for our time. No. That was to negotiate.
Well then, let's negotiate. Are there any interesting ruins around that you can guide us to? Or places off the beaten path?
I kind of get stiff for a moment and tighten up. I don't think you want to go to any ruins here.
Why not?
They say the devil destroyed another city in this land. Removed the whole thing. I heard he did it for a woman.
A red-headed woman?
Not rightly sure. I just heard that he removed a city for a woman. I've heard some people say it was because that's what she wanted him to do, and I've heard others say other things, but people tell a lot of tales. But they say there's a city down to the south of us here, and it's been lost to the swamp at this point, as I understand. It's not a safe place to go. We could show you the road off of Old Svalich Road, but we're not going to go beyond the Svalich Road at that point. You'd be on your own. We could do that in a little less than a half day for 8 gold.
8 gold total or each?
Total. We'll take 4 each. It's a half day's labor. That's pretty good for us. Normally, we'd charge you 5 for a day.
Oh, that is actually a pretty good deal. And then I'll like pull out my little pouch, and then I'll sort of like put it close to my place and dig around in a little bit, and then I'll pull out 4 gold, and I'll say, which one of you is better?
You're funny, Half Pint. But we come as a pair, we work as a pair, and we won't leave each other.
I'm just busting your chops, and then I'll pull out 4 more gold, and I'll say, tomorrow?
Why are you all so quick to be going after these ruins? You know that it only gets the devil's attention. It's
too boring.
if you want to die in Barovia, you don't have to go far, but if y'all need to spend some gold before you do, we'll take it. And Yevgeny kind of reaches forward and takes the 8 gold from Sarkis. And he looks over at Sozdar, and you just hear like a little whisper. It's gold.
Wait, which one looked reluctant?
The bigger one, the spear one, Solsdar.
All right, well, yeah, I guess whenever Flea's done or whatever, I'm gonna just sort of let everybody else know, and then depending on if anybody else has any stuff to do around the bar, I'm good with that for tonight.
Yeah, I'm good.
Towards the end of the evening, the bard's going to kind of wait around in the tavern and eventually come up to Kavi. What have you been getting at? What's your aim in this place?
I don't have an aim.
Why do you keep coming and playing me off?
I'm not. You just choose to walk away.
Small town. Can't have 2 people playing for their keep.
She looks down like, what keep?
Kindly appreciate if you stop trying to play the Blue Water Inn and you leave me to mine. I've been here for a few more weeks than you. I think I deserve at least that much respect.
I mean, we can always just play together.
They're never gonna pay me for my time if I'm playing with someone else. It's a small tavern. He can't afford to give away every room. Every single night you start paying, Erwin charges me money at the end of the night. Charges me for my tab, for my food, for my room. All because you play me off.
Well, it sounds like you have the money to pay for it.
I see. Well. And he kind of like silently walks away.
Abby just shrugs like, that was weird.
So everybody is ready to turn in for the evening?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Midway through the night, pretty deep into the night actually, there's a shriek of a scream coming from a nearby room that's audible to everybody in the tavern itself. And it doesn't take long to recognize that it is coming from Sophia's room.
I will run to aid.
So when you get to her room, you see Sophia up with her short sword drawn, and she's like fumbling at trying to like light a candle with her like flint and sparker, like in the other hand, like holding part of the flint with her sword hand. She's like trying to spark it at the candle to like gain a little bit of a flame, but you can like see the like shaking in her sword as you basically silhouette into the doorway. Stop right there!
It's just me. I heard a scream.
There was a man standing over my bed.
What man? What did he look like?
I didn't properly see in the dark. He's much taller than you. It was hard to see from laying down. Everything was dark.
Did you lock your door before bed?
Of course I locked my door. Everything was locked.
Please going to look for signs of tampering around the door.
Kavi's gonna like make her way towards Sophia and just like kind of like hug her and calm her down.
She like shakes a little bit as soon as you like touch her, like her muscles like flinch. Looking around the actual lock itself, it's a pretty simple lock. There's nothing like extremely special about it. There doesn't seem to be any sign of like a forced entry. As far as things go, it doesn't appear like somebody actually came through the door.
Is there a keyhole so it can be unlocked from outside?
Yes, they would have like a singular keyhole, and it's a pretty familiar lock in like that it's a single tumbler basically. Or I guess a double tumbler would be pretty simple for the time as well. And it's very much like just that see-through keyhole, and then like a very classic tumbler mechanism They're not difficult locks, but they also are effective as like a simple lock. I didn't rightly see him leave. Don't know how they got in. Ugh. She just seems like disgusted and afraid.
The door does not appear to be tampered.
I'm gonna just sort of look around and see if I can kind of check the window, maybe poke it with my staff, and it doesn't look like somebody broke in.
The windows themselves don't look broken in either. As far as things go, it seems like someone found their way into her room, but there doesn't seem to be any obvious entry points.
You sure it wasn't just a bad dream, honey?
It could have been, but
So just to double check. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
nope. You can continue.
Just to double check. So there wasn't any like sign of breaking or entering or forced entry or anything. But if we came into her room, did she have to let us in, or like was it already unlocked to where somebody could have just randomly went into her room and then back out?
I would say that's more an oversight on my part, letting you into the room. I would say it would probably make more sense had you like picked the lock to get in amidst her screaming.
Okay, so maybe like Flea picked the lock or something so we could get in.
Yeah. But no,
Okay, cool.
this is meant to be a supernatural entry, and very clearly so. Which makes sense that you take it to, are you sure you weren't dreaming? I could have been startled out of a dream, but I don't know why I would dream someone I think he was speaking to me. I think he was inviting me off.
Did he say where?
I don't remember. It seems so far away. I must have been sleeping. I am very sorry.
Did you ever meet Strahd?
She has not.
Okay, gotcha.
You all picked her up in the death house in Durst Manor.
Could Vox use his divine sense to see if there's anything lingering or if any direction or something coming or going?
If you proc divine sense, you don't seem to sense anything.
If it would make you feel better, I will sleep with my back to the door so you can get a good night's rest.
Could sleep on their feet and keep them warm.
There's no need. I'm sure I was just dreaming. It was nothing. I'm very sorry. I was just startled. It's a strange place. She's just trying to like, gather her composure and not seem weak. It's very clear that she's trying to like prop herself up.
Sophia, you know by now that you can trust us and we only have your best interest in mind. So I think from now on we should sleep at least 2 to a room. Javi can keep you safe at night, but just Better safe than sorry.
And Coffee does offer she wants to like move into her room.
She like pauses for a second and then kind of like shakes herself a little bit and see her kind of like struggle with this idea, and she just takes a moment to say, I'm fine. You all work for me, and a proper business relationship necessitates that we have our boundaries. I appreciate you coming to my attention, but I am very sorry. I was startled awake from a dream, and it just so happened to be a little bit of a nightmare. That is all. Please, just return to your rooms. I will get my rest.
Now, Sophia, don't take this the wrong way, but from a business standpoint, it is in our best interest to make sure that you remain safe. Therefore, you can continue to employ us. In so facto, I must insist from a business standpoint that you and Kavi double up. And then he's going to kind of whisper under his breath, I know you can handle yourself. I've seen you in action. He'll like give her a little wink.
I guess maybe it wouldn't be bad for Kavi can move in here to basically have like two of the single rooms. So she's offering you a chance to sleep on the ground.
Fine.
She offers you like a small little pillow that's like one of the side pillows from her bed that you would like remove when getting into bed, and like no blanket. She just goes back to sleep.
Sarkis will like volunteer up like his stuff so that Kavi's comfortable, and then sort of like usher off to the side. Makes more sense and would make me feel better if you stayed in here with her and kept each other safe.
Coffee just gets like an okay sign.
And then Sarkis will start talking about how like hairy his toes are and like his face anyway, so he doesn't need all his blankets or anything to stay warm.
Well, being on the floor, just making sure there's nothing under the bed, right?
I can check. It's half as far down for me. And I'll like lean over and look under.
Oh, I mean, Coffee's already on the floor, so it's a matter of just going over.
So we're like same height now?
Yeah, these are all pretty simple setups. Most of these rooms are just like a footlocker with a mattress, like a straw mattress, like laying on the ground.
Well, then if Kavi's already on the ground next to me looking under the bed, I'll like kind of wave one of my feet in front of her, kind of like up on one foot and say, see, look how hairy they are. It keeps you warm at night. You just have to be close, careful putting them too close to the fire.
She just giggles.
Thea like grumbles a little bit and looks down at you like, awfully proud of your feet.
Ah, you're just jealous. All right, girls. Well, that's it for tonight then. I'm going to turn back in. Any signs of any danger or anything, and just let out a scream. So I just like wink at her and then go back to bed.
So, assuming everybody goes back to bed there, the night progresses forward uneventfully. Nice early rise into semi-lightedness. Everybody can kind of get up and start moving about. As the first person comes down the stairs, as long as it has been any light at all, basically, you'll see that the hunters are downstairs, kind of hanging out, just like relaxing. They seem to be like gnawing on some wolf jerky and drinking from their waters.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely join them for some jerks.
Bit of fruit of our labors. Some of our finest wolf. It tastes like all the rest. Do all the others sleep in? Are we wasting daylight?
Fox will join Argus as well downstairs for breakfast.
Please, ready to go.
I'm pretty sure Kavi and Sophia walk down at the same time.
Ah, there they are. I'm always the first up. I like to wake up early and practice my karate, and I'll like start doing like some like karate moves again.
Oh, that's cute.
Fox looks mildly impressed.
I'm sure the Burgomaster thinks you're just the most wonderful of enemies. Or, my bad, enemies was the wrong word there. Most wonderful of allies. You can just use the power of love to convince everything not to kill you.
Yeah, I asked him if he needed us to handle any business for him, and he didn't seem interested. He didn't have anything up to the challenge, I believe, were his exact words.
Man has everything he needs. If he doesn't, he'll just kill whoever has it. It's good to be king. Well, if you all are ready, let's head off. Should be a
Let's go.
rather simple ride to the old road. So they start walking you all to the west. There's progressions here and there of different people. There's a lot of people who are like collecting up different like twigs and things, and they all seem to be heading like in that general direction of the Burgomaster's house. And in general, you hear a lot more conversation about the Festival of the Blazing Sun. And most of these people are like hooting and hollering, not like with joy, but saying all will be well over and over again. Kind of everybody seems very tense in preparation for the Festival of the Burning Sun. And you all make your way towards the west gate of Vallaki, eventually kind of like nodding your way past the guards as they let you out of that gate, and you start heading off into the west. The two hunters slowly go over a few different things with you, and they're like, so, it's a pretty simple path. We'll take you over the bridge and take you down the first part of the road, but we'll eventually be pointing you off on your own, and you're gonna be going into a dangerous land. And I hope you all understand what you're getting into. If you make it out alive, though, and you need hired hands again, we'll be plenty joyed to take your money again.
Sounds great.
So, what were you gonna say? I think that was Doc or Sarkis.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You can keep going.
I never want to. So kind of progressing out of Vallaki, it's not long before there's like a little dirt road that like passes to the south of you all, not even a quarter of a mile out of the town. And they just kind of keep walking you all through. There's a heavy forest to the east of you all that kind of drops down into a lower, like, it's not quite like a floodplain or a valley, but you can see that there is like a little bit of a decline to the land in that direction. And then there's a large forest on that like entire southern side of the road, well beyond like the actual gates of Vallaki. There's that entire forest. And eventually you all start to hear the sounds of a rushing river. And it's not long before you actually see a large stone bridge that just comes up. It's just like a low swooping bridge over this little bit of a valley, and there's a raging river like 30 feet or so below the actual height of the rest of this area, and you kind of cross over its actual river and like kind of continue on until you get to a crossroads, and they both kind of look at each other with a little bit of hesitancy, look back to you all and say, are you sure that you want to be going after these ruins, the devil's ruins? They're this way, take you a little bit further, but the road's gonna end because people don't go this way.
Whereabouts are we on the map at this point?
Yeah, crossroads just to the west of that bridge.
Ah, okay, thanks.
Of course we're ready, friends. All will be well. Don't fear.
No need for the burgomaster's bullshit out here. Nobody's gonna throw you in the stocks for not believing in his shit.
I'm honestly getting kind of hyped for this. It's like really building excitement, honestly.
Every 10 days, my friend. Every 10 days.
Every 10 days, what?
He throws another festival. He doesn't give up.
Yeah, he's a few classes short of a
Hang on, but this is the first Sun Festival. Like, this one's gonna be hype, right?
Every festival is. They never stop. The man has nothing to do but throw festivals, and the next one is always gonna be the greatest.
Sarkis gonna like put his head down and just you hear him mumbling, I bought into the hype.
So they start to walk you about like a half mile or so south, and you kind of see as this area. Oh damn, did I describe that as flowing the wrong direction? I think I did. I think it would actually be going down into the valley the way that you guys are going. That the water is running from Lake Zarovich to the south. So you all start to walk down, and it's not long before the last signs of this old trail just disappear, and you start to get into the first signs of not yet a swamp, but wetlands. And things slow down, and eventually the brothers kind of stop. Or not the brothers, my bad. The hunters. And Solstar is going to look towards you all. Well, if you all follow the river, stay on this side, you'll find your way to the ruins. If you ever intend to see yourselves out, I'd recommend you see from afar and leave quickly. But if you all make it back to Vallaki, and you need guides anywhere else in Barovia, please don't hesitate to come looking. Your gold looks mighty fine, and I'd like to weigh my pockets down with any more that you might have. And with that, they're going to turn.
Just out of curiosity, how much further is it? And have you ever actually seen the ruins yourself?
Bloody hell, if I would go all the way there. No. We've heard tell of them. We know that that's where they're at. It's into the swamp there. But I've never rightly heard anybody, even in the last 50 years, who's been there. I need to take at least another short break, if you guys have more questions for him.
All good.
Do we have a copy of this map?
Man, I wonder what these ruins are going to be.
Do we have a copy of this map?
A copy of it? Maybe in the notes? I don't know.
Because about halfway down, you see that little dot off to the left. I'm wondering if he'll let us see that.
All right, my bad.
Wait, like that cigar?
What's everyone thinking? Do you have any other questions for Soul's daughter? Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Not for them, I don't think. But Flea had a question about the map.
Do we have a copy of this map?
I believe it's shared, under Barovia map.
Because about, third of the way down, a little less than third of the way down, it looks like there's something off to the west-hand side.
Wait, like, do you as characters have a copy of the map?
Yes.
No, not technically, but you would have looked at this map with, damn it. Isaac comes to mind, but that's the wrong name. Ismark. Back in Barovia. This would have been the map that he would have shown you, like, in his library.
Fair enough.
But you've got the keen mind, so you'd pretty much be able to remember it, like, perfectly. Or maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to tell the group about, that there might be a area of interest off to the west when we get to the two small peaks.
After the hunters leave?
Yes.
God, I fucking love you all.